This is Twit.
Let me talk about the phone that just the whole world was waiting for. In fact, so much attention, so much hype around the Moto X phone that I think a number of people, especially geeks, were very disappointed when they finally got the story on the Moto X. This is the first phone from Googlerola. I call it Googlerola. You know, Google bought Motorola for $12.5 million about a year and a half, 2 years ago. The deal finally closed about a year ago. And finally, after all that time, this is the first phone to come out of that union. There have been other phones. In fact, Motorola announced phones just a couple of weeks ago, new Droids, but those were already in the pipeline. This Moto X is the first. Now, let me talk a little bit about what makes it unusual. It isn't the specs. In fact, if you look at the specs, they're kind of unremarkable. It is a simple phone, right? Very clean. I'll show you the size in relationship to another very hot Android phone. By the way, this is an Android phone. This is the HTC One. HTC One also 4.7-inch screen, but it's both thicker, taller, and wider than the Moto X. That's because they were able to get this Moto X into the phone, the big screen, without, it goes almost all the way to the edges of the bezel. It isn't quite the high resolution, I'm sorry to say, that the HTC One is. It's a little bit disappointing in resolution. It's only a 720p phone, 1280 by 720. Now, I should point out that's 316 pixels per inch, just 10 pixels per inch fewer than the iPhone 5. So in every way, you could call this, Apple uses the term retina, but you could call this a very high-res display. But I think there's some geeks who say, well, 4.7 inches, it should be 1080p like the HTC One. It doesn't bother me. And one of the reasons Motorola made this choice, but there are really two reasons. One's for better battery life, the other is for better performance.